Hi, and welcome back to the pain and stress module of the Injury Healing Code. So this last chapter of the pain and stress module pretty much just brings this all together, and it's a really lovely summary of everything that we have covered to date. And so I want to begin this chapter with the statement: your body is constantly and continuously communicating with you in a variety of different ways. Your body has the intuitive wisdom of knowing exactly what it is that it needs. All you need to learn to do is to speak its language and to listen. So it's your job to learn to listen to its messages, to learn to understand what your body has been trying to say, and then to learn to then process the message that it's trying to communicate with you, and to learn to implement the appropriate action. So in this pain and stress module that we have covered so far, we've already covered several of the ways that the body is actually trying to communicate with us. Okay? So we've covered that the body is communicating with us through pain. It's communicating with us through stress. And in the most recent chapter, we learned that the body is also communicating with us through our postures, okay, and our physiology, such as our heart rate, our breathing rate, and even our digestion. Okay, some additional ways that our body is communicating with us. So it's communicating with us through our thought patterns, and it's communicating with us through our emotions, and also strategies such as hunger and thirst. Okay? So our body has a huge variety of different ways that it is always trying to communicate with us. Okay? And all you need to do is learn to listen to it. And I've said this before, but learning to listen to your body, it is exactly the same as learning to parent yourselves. You need to learn to get down on the level of the body, on the level that it's willing to communicate with you. You need to accept what it is that it's telling you. You need to process it, and you need to feel that self-love and that compassion toward yourselves and for everything that it is that you are experiencing. You need to own that experience completely. You need to then undertake a variety of parenting strategies. So it's a little bit of trial and error, implementing a variety of different strategies to try and process or release or work through whatever it is that's there in order for you to move through and to grow. And so in the last chapter, so the most recent chapter on the connection between our physiology and our emotional state, okay, we learned how our posture is directly related, okay, to our emotional state. We learned that this is a way that we can recognize emotion within our body. So whether it's by paying attention to the emotion or paying attention to the way that we're physically feeling that within our body. We learned that by being able to have more awareness of this, we're able to recognize our emotions and our physiology or physiological changes earlier. And if we have increased awareness and can recognize these earlier, we have improved strategies to be able to shift into higher, more resourceful energy states. We learnt that, it's not always as simple as this. We learnt that sometimes we've been, ruminating in the emotion for quite a while, that we've been, stuck in the gunkiness of it. Okay. We learnt that when we've been stuck in this emotion for a while, that we might need to pull on some other resources. We might need to, get outside in nature, change our scenery, get outside for a walk, to move, to get mobile, go for a jog, maybe even, sing, dance, let it out, whatever. There are a whole heap of strategies here that we have learnt that we can call on in order to help us to shift our state. And so we know that these strategies are obviously going to be extremely beneficial when, now's not the time to feel that emotion and we just need to carry on. When we need to function in life, or when we catch ourselves, ruminating in an old, thought or process or memory that just really isn't serving us, and we just need to carry on, push forward, move through this. So this is where these strategies are extremely important. However, we still have to acknowledge what emotion is underpinning this. We need to acknowledge what's there behind that lower state, or that what's there in the first place. Because if we just, again, shift out of state, okay, into happy state, shift again into happy state, shift again into happy state, this is no different than just blocking it out, blocking it out, blocking it out. And we know that if we're not going to process what's there in the first place, we know that it's going to build. We know that we're going to start storing that physically within the body. And we know, like we've learnt in the last couple of chapters, that when we ignore pain, our body starts screaming at us. It heightens our pain experience, intensifies it. When we ignore low-grade stress, again, our body starts screaming at us. So again, if we just use this strategy of shifting out into another state, and if we keep blocking the emotion, our body's going to hold it, okay, stronger and stronger and stronger within us. And again, eventually it's going to again start screaming at us. So we have to have the awareness of when it's appropriate to shift state. Okay, so in order to function, in order to, carry on with life. And when it's time, when we're safe, that we actually have to come back and we have to process what it is that we're experiencing and what that emotion actually is telling us in the first place. And so I want to bring this back to a quote from Brené Brown, actually. So in her recent book, Atlas of the Heart, which is a book about understanding how our emotions, or understanding our emotions and exactly what it is that they're telling us. So she states that we like to think that we are rational beings who on occasions have an emotion and then we flick it away. But the reverse is actually applicable. We are emotional and feeling beings who on occasions think. Okay, so we are emotional beings. We learnt in the last chapter that our emotions are directly related to our physical body. We 100% feel every single emotion in our body. You cannot feel an emotion or experience an emotion without feeling it physiologically. Okay? This is why they're called feelings. Okay? Emotions are feelings. We are meant to feel them. Emotions are a way that our body is communicating with us. We feel them. That's the way that it's telling us that there's something here that we're experiencing and there's something here that we need to process. And so the issue with this lies is that sometimes we don't have the emotional bandwidth to deal with the emotion, and maybe this is why we're shoving it down, we're blocking it out of the way. Okay. Maybe we are actually aware of what the emotion is, but we just don't have that time, energy to be able to process it. Alternatively, we might not even be aware of our emotions. We might have a lack of emotional intelligence. And this could stem back to, the way that we were brought up as children. Don't feel that emotion. It's not okay to feel sad. It's not okay to feel angry. Okay, bottle that up. Okay, boys don't cry. Okay, and so over a period of time, if we're taught, or whether it's being taught or if, through self-practice, we shove that down, shove that emotion out of the way, shove it down, block it out, we may not actually be able to feel the emotion in the first place. So we may not recognize that it's there. We may not have the awareness needed to be able to even label the emotion. Do we know the difference between worry and sadness? Okay, if you haven't practiced this over your lifetime, this can be a new skill, and it can be quite confusing and daunting or overwhelming to actually now start to recognize that, hey, I have emotions, and then actually being able to take the time and the energy to label them and work out why it is that we're experiencing it in order to process it and move through. And so in order to process these emotions, we've covered some of this work in the foundation module. Okay? Sometimes it can just be coming back to things like your values, redirecting, your life path back in line with what's important with you. Sometimes it can be recognizing, your beliefs around, certain circumstances. And we cover this a lot to do with our past experience, as well as our, the story that we were telling ourselves regarding our injury. And all in all, it comes back to what the principles are of the injury healing code. It comes back to awareness, which I think is strengthened in every single one of you now. So the awareness of being able to recognize that there is something there that your body's telling you. It comes back to acceptance. So full-heartedly accepting what that message is. It comes back to owning it, owning that message, owning your experience, owning exactly where it is, what your process currently is. It comes back to compassion for yourself, that it's okay to be where you are. And then it comes back to that hope and that determination that with time, with persistence, with practice, that this processing, this release, okay, it gets easier, and we can shift, we can move, we can grow, and we can move through this. So in this final chapter, we're now going to work through the short quiz that is associated with this video. And this just helps to tie this together a little bit further. So it helps to delve into a little bit more of whether there are some additional emotions, so lower state emotions particularly, that are associated with your injury. Okay, and it helps to promote some self-reflection and some questioning to help you to move through this. There is a list of lower state emotions that you can download as well, just so that you've got a whole variety of emotions there to refer to and to reflect upon, and to help you to label if there is a lower state emotion that you are experiencing, okay, that is associated with your injury. So this is there as a resource to help you. And I want to say that by coming this far already through the injury healing code, the awareness that you have within yourself on all of these different levels, physically, emotionally, specifically to your injury, externally to your life, to your habits, your beliefs, your behaviors, this awareness that you now have has grown phenomenally. Okay? And this awareness, this is the greatest asset to you. And all the rest of the processing the moving forward, the growing from this. Okay, learning to love yourself, to move through, to support yourself through this. This is a process. I already know that you are on this journey. I already know that you are promoting this healing, this nurturing within yourself to move forward, to move through your injury and to heal from it. I know that you've got these strategies within you that you can call upon again and again and again. And I know that this is only going to get easier the more you access it, the more you take your time to connect in to yourself and to understand yourself. And so know that if you are struggling still with your injury or with anything that you're going through at current, know that there's still support there for you. We all do this in our own time. And know that you can seek help through a counsellor, through a psychologist, or you can access me on a one-to-one basis in clinic. But know that the support is here to help you through this journey. I hope more than ever that you can feel the shift within yourself already. And I hope that you reflect upon this journey as an insightful experience of self-reflection and self-love. I wish you more than ever complete healing and recovery on this journey. And I look forward to hearing from you with exactly how far you have already progressed on this journey and also how far you continue to progress along it.